And of course, once you get that unicorn, it's all about protecting him and obviously building around him. What does Dalton Kincaid bring to that equation, in your estimation, the kid you drafted?
Yeah, I mean, Rich, we were, coming in this draft, not necessarily saying first round we needed to add, receiver, tight end, whatever it may be, but we were hoping to add a weapon, some form or fashion, to add to our group with Diggs and Gabe Davis. And Khalil Shakir is a fifth-rounder that came on last year. James Cook is a running back that's a mismatch guy. And then Dawson Knox. Those are kind of our lead weapons as we entered the draft. And so whether it was a receiver, tight end, whatever, we were just looking for another guy in the pass game that could be some type of weapon mismatch. And we feel that Dalton, he's got speed. He's got really good hands. He's got separation ability. I would say above average run after catch. Just a guy, a red zone threat, makes plays when the ball's in the air. He wins his fair share of contested balls. And so, one of the things the media was asking, after we selected him, well, you extended Dawson Knox last year. Like, how does this work? I was explaining to them, we're a big 11 personnel team, running 3 wide, but we'll just do more 12. But it's almost he'll play that F tight end, which he's going to be flexed out as more of a receiver. It's just a different style of receiver for us, kind of a guy that can be in the middle of the field. And when teams want to try and take Diggs away and double him or bracket him, now this guy's going to get one-on-one coverage.
Well, in terms of that too, Brandon, I kind of mentioned it after you drafted Kincaid on the air, that on the NFL Network coverage, is that last year, a lot of the issues, if there were any, is that your quarterback tried to do too much in the red zone. The running game wasn't somebody that he was the one running it, right, or trying to make a play, and that Kincaid will do that. And it does appear with your running back room now with Damian Harris, Latavius Murray, Nyheim Hines, that this is a focus. Like, okay, inside the 20, it's not all on Josh, and he could just hand it to somebody. He doesn't run it. Or he could throw it to somebody, and if Diggs is doubled, let's get some more options. And Kincaid he is just a touchdown maker, Brandon. I'm wondering if that was your philosophy here going into the offseason.
Yeah, definitely. The offseason was, one of the things we talked to Josh about was limiting unnecessary hits. And listen, doesn't mean we don't want him to run, doesn't mean we don't want him to make plays with his feet. It just means it's a long season, and we want you, fully healthy for the stretch run and hopefully a playoff run. And you're right, there were times when our offense bogged down, in various points, especially in the red zone, as you mentioned. And so, yes, we got to have a better run game down there. We added Damian Harris, who is probably a better complementary player to James Cook than what we had before, can bring some power. Damian actually had some good games against us, so we were caught the brunt end of his skill set a few times playing the Patriots. And then, we had Latavius Murray, an even bigger back that can be short yardage, goal line, all that stuff as another option that Dorsey can use. And, now adding Kincaid is another red zone threat with Dawson, with Gabe Davis, with Diggs. And hopefully Josh doesn't have to feel like he's got to do too much.
And in terms of working the draft board, did you hop in front of Dallas because you knew they were going to take a tight end, or you thought that? Is that what happened on Thursday night?
I think that's exactly what happened was, we just, again, you'd have to get it out of them, but, we had a good feeling they were looking for, a starting tight end after losing Dalton Schultz. And so just trying to, make sure if he got that far. There were a few other teams that we had pegged that would, even before Dallas select Dalton. So really wasn't sure he would get there, but once he got past the Chargers, they were a team that I said could definitely take him. They went with the TCU kid, who's a really good player too. And at that point, after they picked him, I started trying to work the phones and see, hey, you know what? We didn't have a lot of ammo. We only came in with 6 picks, but this was a guy that I really thought could be a difference maker and was worth giving up, our late 4th-round pick for.
You surprised Osiris Torrance was available for you to select in the 2nd round? Were you surprised about that?
Yeah, same thing. We had good grades on Osiris, really liked him, and so it was an easy pick from that standpoint. He was definitely sticking out on our board, and it gives us another guy up front, a stout 335-pounder that, the cool thing about his story, Rich, is he transfers with Coach Napier from Louisiana Lafayette, and he goes up there, and Coach Napier brought him there. He told me, he's a culture guy, and so if a coach is bringing this guy with him, yeah, he's a good player, but he's also a guy that the Florida Gators were going to kind of look to of what kind of player and person he wants on and off the field, and the other cool part of that is he wasn't promised a starting job to transfer. And I think a lot of kids would have said, well, if I'm not starting necessarily, then I'm going to stay where I'm at. They started him on the third team in spring ball, and by the time they started the regular season, he had won that starting job. And it wasn't too big for him playing in the SEC, which I think we can all attest is probably the closest thing to NFL football there is.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.